With the release of her 2004 debut album, Unwritten, Natasha Bedingfield's star has continued to rise around the world. Along with her global ascent up the charts, 3 years later, she was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Pop Vocal Performance. And this morning, we are pleased to be spending the next hour with Natasha Bedingfield, starting now on Private Sessions. That was Natasha Bedingfield performing one of her top 5 hits, Pocket Full of Sunshine, from the stage at the world-famous Rainbow Room here in New York City. Natasha, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I heard that you had a really good feeling about this song, Pocket Full of Sunshine, before it was even finished.
I did.
How so?
Well, I was in the middle of writing for a couple of weeks, and it had been quite frustrating, and I'd been going through a few things in my life, and it was like somehow like the sky opened and a little song just kind of came down. That's the only way I could describe it. It's just like it just kind of flowed, and I felt instantly, oh, I love it. You know, sometimes writing can be really laborious, and it feels, you know, it just takes a little while to get it out. Yeah. Everyone goes through writer's block sometimes.
But I can just imagine that, you know, it's tough just to get focused, let alone trying to write something you think that's going to actually connect with lots of people.
Exactly. And so the song is kind of about when, you know, when life just is kind of getting really tough and difficult, and you just have that moment where you just want to escape, which I think we all have. I mean, that's why in my video, I'm like working in an office and it's all grey and dull, and I just want to, like, I don't know, I kind of have these dreams of like jumping out the window, and I put a parachute on and I become like this other person and have a big party on the roof. Like,
I want to go to that party.
Yes.
And Soulmate's another fantastic. It's
Thank
now
you.
becoming my new favorite ballad, and it's another cut off of Pocket Full of Sunshine, which you're going to perform for us later on.
I am.
I'm very excited about. I'm curious to know, did you write this song before you met your soulmate, or perhaps did he inspire the song? Because it really speaks to people who are looking for that special someone and what they would say.
It does.
You know?
And well, the song, let me see, I wrote it actually before I met Matt. Well, you know, my first ever single was called Single.
And it was much about
and that was
single.
about the freedom and independence and celebrating every stage of life you're at. And I loved being single, and I really, really enjoyed it. And really, I think when you sing something that much as well, it kind of gets into it becomes your thing, you know?
Yeah.
But I'd kind of reached a point by that second album of going, actually, you know, I've had a lot of success in my life. I've traveled the world, but I don't really have someone to share that with, and that is a little bit lonely. And I think that, well, the main thing what the song is about is just the fact that we all long to be understood, and we all long to have a special knowing, a person who actually just knows us, and you don't have to explain yourself to.
It never gets any better, no matter.
Yeah, I mean, even when you meet someone, you're like, you know, you're in a relationship, you still have to explain what girls like and what boys like. You know, I mean,
men are from Mars, women
exactly.
are from Venus. It will always be
exactly. You're always going to be on different planes of thought with people.
Did you start knowing when you started writing this album that it was going to be more about relationships, or was it naturally just kind of where your head was at, so that's how it ended up coming to be?
Well, I like the idea that an album has a basic theme to it, a kind of general theme, and I guess that's what you could say the theme of the first album was independence and just making the most out of like new beginnings and like a blank page.
Yes,
before
it was
you
an
know,
anthem.
Exactly.
It really, truly
Unwritten.
was.
Yeah, and that was the idea. It's just, well, you know, I mean, I love songs that are anthems, you know, that you can sing along to. The next album was about relationship, just because I felt like, well, I've seen the world, and one thing that really it just inspired me was the way that people relate to each other in, you know, romantic relationships as well as friendships, and fighting and getting along, and, you know, just the sacrifices that you make, and all the different kind of things. That's always been something that really interests me.
But it's interesting that you say that you wrote the relationship part of the album before you even had a relationship. It was just a change. It's almost like you predict your own future through your music.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Speaking of that, I read that you said somewhere that romance is female Viagra. Did you say that?
I said something like that.
You should put it on your next album.
I should. That could be the title.
Sorry, I only take 10%. No.
Well, it's just like, if guys really knew how basic the tricks are to turn a girl on, they would do them all the time. And basically, if you're romantic, You know, I mean, Matt gave me flowers one morning, and then I was on the red carpet, and I had the best smile ever, because in my mind I was thinking, my man loves me and he gave me flowers, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, even though flowers, they die and whatever, it's that thing. It's like the reason that you give cut flowers, I just found this out recently, the reason that you give cut flowers is because that, like, as opposed to a potted flower, you know, she likes having cut flowers, because then the next week he has to give them to her again.
I like that.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Are you listening, guys?
Funny. It's like consistency. It's like it's not enough just to get one gift. You want to always be spoiled and be treated like a...
I like the way you think.
I like it.
We're going to come back with more and hear more about what Natasha thinks, and hear some great music when Private Sessions comes back right after this. Now, she grew up in a musical family, performing with her siblings, and today her sister and brothers are both singers as well. Tell me about those years growing up with such a musical family. That must have been so much fun.
I know, my family is the loudest family on the street. I mean, we were all very extrovert, and our parents were very... were kind of a little bit alternative and hippie-ish in their approach, and so I don't know, they were very always encouraging us in the arts, and that was kind of more arts focused.
They were from a charity background.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, charity. My mum
education?
has an amazing charity that helps children. It's called Global Angels, and yeah, it's wonderful. But yeah, they've always done things like family counselling, and you know, we just grew up in that kind of environment, which is all about kind of caring for people. But somehow, for some reason, all the kids were very musical, and we had lots of instruments around the house, and yeah, Daniel is basically the main reason we all got obsessed with music. He just made songs and wrote music, and had an incredible voice. Like, he was like a little Michael Jackson when he was a kid. Like, the purest, amazing, just incredible voice. And he's 2 years older than me, and I'm 2 years older than my sister, and we have another brother as well. So there's 4 of us, and I don't know, we just all really, really liked music.
And obviously you had a supportive family to go along with that. So
Yeah.
Where did you get your soulful voice? Was that in church, or was that something that it was just a gift you were born with? Because it's just such a clean and not unusual, but different sounding. When you belt it out.
I can belt it.
Yes,
yeah.
you can.
I have a booty. And I think that you know, it kind of just like helps you sing, and it helps you belt it out. I think that soul, I mean, singing for me is like what I would feel like if I was all right, how do I describe it? If I was an acrobat and could do somersaults in the air, that's what I feel like when I sing. It's like if you could just launch out, and it kind of just feels freeing, and I like singing when it means something to me, and that's to me what soul is. Jeff Buckley is soul, as well as Aretha Franklin, and you know, I did grow up in church, so I think that was also helpful too. Yeah.
Well, the echo and the sound, of course, I'm sure.
I mean, we were in a very alternative church, very non-denominational, not very religious, but it was big on music. And the main thing, the main reason you have so many people who have a church background who are musical is because every week you're doing music, and you learn that music is not just about technical. You know, if you go to stage school, you learn music in a very technical way.
Yes.
Whereas you kind of learn about how it's kind of more of music is a way to express yourself.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you breaking it down like that, because you know, sometimes you just can't imagine where someone would get that from within without being taught.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And just naturally be born like, oh.